Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic. So there's some Marvel news about the upcoming future of the MCU after Endgame. So there's two articles I'm going to look at. First one is about the Russo Brothers, and the other one is about this story about the XMen not appearing in the Marvel Universe for about 5 years. So the first article I'm going to look at here is from HN Entertainment. So this article, Joe Russo affirms that Secret Wars would be the MCU event that could convince the directing duo to return. So MTV was talking to the Russo brothers, and they're asking them, they've asked them, they've talked about what characters they like. They've talked about their love of Wolverine, Fantastic Four, Secret Wars. Of those three, which is the one that's going to pull you back in a couple of years to the MCU? So Joe Russo said, I keep saying Secret Wars because that one was the first one of the first books that I really fell in love with as a kid was Secret Wars. This notion of event storytelling. And I think that's part of the reason that we gravitate so strongly towards these event films and these ensemble films. The notion that you can contain so many different characters and so many different points of view and galvanize them around a story point is really compelling to us. And when asked about making a DC Comics movie, Joe replied, never say never. So, that would be an interesting event to see on the big screen, Secret Wars. That was the big event of the 80s. And they even based a toy line on it. And that whole event evolved this really powerful cosmic being who was basically his own universe. And they became sentient, and the molecule man done something, caused a rip in space-time continuum so he could see into our universe. And then we never really seen what the Beyonder was in the first Secret Wars, and then created a planet that was kind of like a mishmash of all these other planets, and pitted all the bad guys, all the villains against all the good superheroes into basically one big war. And in that miniseries was the first appearance of Spider-Man's symbiotic costume, which would later go on to become Venom. So that would be an interesting movie, but that's another one like Infinity War. You'd have to, I think, build up to that one in over a few movies, kind of like what they did with the Infinity War. But me personally, the big story arc I would like to see them move forward next after is the coming of Galactus. That's what I'd like to see. Is have the next 5, 6, 7 years and build up towards that, the coming of Galactus. I think that would be a cool event for the next big event in the Marvel Universe. And then that would be the next big, huge Avengers film, would be the Avengers, and by that point, maybe the Fantastic Four and maybe the X-Men would all have to team up and go up against Galactus. And then eventually we'd get and also because that we'd get a Silver Surfer movie, which is something I've wanted to see, a really good Silver Surfer movie for a really long time, because Silver Surfer is one of my favorite Marvel superheroes. So speaking of the X-Men, Kevin Feige was asked about when the X-Men were going to make an appearance in the MCU. And so this article is on Cinema Blend. And does Marvel's 5-year plan include the X-Men? Here's what Kevin Feige says. So basically, I'll go on down to his quote here. While it'll be a while, it's all just beginning, and the 5-year plan that we were working on before any of that was set. So really, it's much more for us, less about specifics of when and where the X-Men will appear right now, and more just the comfort factor and how nice it is that they're home and they're all back. But it will be a very long time. I don't know. What else does Kevin Feige have to say here? Kevin Feige tells IO9 that Marvel had been working on plans for the next phase of the MCU long before the deal with Fox was made. Thus, those plans didn't include a place for the X-Men. Feige says that those plans haven't been specifically impacted by addition, so it likely won't be until after the current plan is finished that the new characters like X-Men will be added. Goes on to say, on one hand, it makes a lot of sense. While we don't have a lot of visibility to what Marvel has planned for its next phase, we can assume a lot of work has been done behind the scenes. A lot of work would go out the window and need to be started over, all with a much shorter runtime if the X-Men were made an immediate concern. And then it just goes on to talk about some of the future movies. While Marvel has yet to confirm anything official after Spider-Man Far From Home comes out this July, we do think we know what's coming. Marvel movies about Black Widow, The Eternals have been rumored. Sequels for Doctor Strange and Black Panther are expected. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is back on schedule, though it will now be coming out later than previously scheduled. And there's really no need to bring the X-Men in too soon. There are plenty of other characters that can be focused on in the future films, and the longer the X-Men are left alone, the easier it will be to bring them back in a new reboot. Well, I'm going to really have to disagree with that, because what other characters are going to be more interesting than the X-Men, really? And to say that they never had any intention, so I don't believe Kevin Feige when he says that there was no plans, because before that, like, they just didn't start making plans as soon as the deal closed. This was something Disney's been after for a while. They've been after these characters for years, behind the scenes, trying to get these characters. So they got plans for the X-Men, and they've had them for a while. I guarantee you they've had them. So I think this is him just throwing people off of the scent. And now the only reason maybe I could see the 5-year thing would be because maybe you still got the last 2 remaining X-Men films that's part of the old Fox, before the Disney merger. So you got the Dark Phoenix that's coming out, and then New Mutants, and those are going to be the last 2 of the whole Fox saga of X-Men films. Those are going to be the last 2 films. So maybe they want to put just a bit of distance between those films. They don't want to come in right just off the heels of these 2 last X-Men films. Maybe give them a few years so people can forget about them. But saying that they have no plans, I don't believe that for 1 second, that they have no plans for the X-Men or Fantastic Four, anything like that, because they've been eyeing those characters for a long time. You can't tell me that they haven't been working up something to What If or whatever. Look how fast they shoved Spider-Man in there as soon as they got him from Sony, and they've been were after Spider-Man for a while before they got that deal with Sony. So interesting stuff. We'll have to see after Endgame, see what happens with the next batch of movies, and see who's going to stay in the MCU. If got those big name actors like Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr., if they stay on, or if they get killed off or they leave or whatever, see what's going to happen for the next phase. But I can tell you right now, if the next phase isn't working out, if the movies don't make the money they want, like this Eternals movie, which I don't know why that would be a priority over X-Men. Nobody knows who those are, unless you're a hardcore Marvel fan. But if those movies don't start making money, like if the next Captain Marvel movie doesn't bring in $1 billion like the one that recently came out, and then the Eternals don't do very good, they ain't going to wait 5 years to bring in the X-Men, because the X-Men, especially Wolverine, and that equals money. So that's everything I got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.